What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Minecraft Unabridged, and I've been doing so much work off camera to prep for today's episode because we got some really awesome stuff, some fun stuff too that we're going to do today, but also to finish off our Applied Energistics Advanced Inscriber setup that we got going on over here. So we now have 9 fully automated inscribers, all of which have 2 acceleration cards in them, which is awesome because now they pretty much make them instantaneously. Like, you can put 5 in here if you really wanted to, but there almost is no point. I get pretty much over 1 a second if I request them, so I don't know why I'd ever need them faster than that. Of course, though, they let you put in 5, so people like Non-Sanity that just have resources to spew all over the place, they could pretty much vomit up diamonds for all they care. Yeah, it's in there for those guys. So yeah, eventually we might put in 3 more into each, but for now, it is working great. So we got the logic processor right here, the engineering processor right here, and the calculation processor right here. So that is great, and then behind them, they're pretty much hooked up exactly the same. They all just have power and Ender IO conduits with filters for each specific thing running to them. And then the import bus that is hooked up to the chest has a capacity card upgrade and then has the 3 different processors in there. I guess I can actually go back here and show you. So right here, we have the capacity card, and it's got the 3 different processors in there. And then over here, we just have the power conduits along with the Ender IO conduits, and those are hooked up to these, same as before. So this one is going to be the engineering processor, so diamonds go in here, and then it's always pulling out, same as that. And then this one is, I believe, going to be, is the pure Certus quartz? Yeah, so the pure Certus quartz crystal, and this one for the calculation. Then they all come back into this, and if we look down here at the interface, we can see all 3 patterns right here, good to go. So that is awesome, and that is all good. We're not going to have to touch that for a while unless we decide to move it. So that is finally done. But as you can see, it is getting a little cramped back here, and we're going to make it even worse today with what we're putting back here because we're going to add 2 more things back here, which is why I made this little attic area, I guess. So the one downside is it does decrease the space we have in here. No more lofted ceiling, but honestly, I actually kind of like the way it looks with everything flush on this wall and then this nice little ceiling here. And eventually we're going to put the pretty much wall of machines over here and then hook them up to a tesseract in a corner, and that tesseract will bring them over here and eventually put them in the system. So everything is planned out and good to go. We just actually have to construct it now, which is what we're going to be doing today. So like I said, I did a lot of crafting off camera, which hopefully you can see in my inventory. So first off, we are going to need to upgrade our system using an ME controller. Now that's just going to let us get a bunch more channels, and it also looks really cool, but unfortunately we're not going to be able to see it, which kind of sucks. But if we come over here, I made the executive decision to put it right at this kind of junction of all these smart cables, just because we're going to be outputting out, I believe, 5 of the 6 possible sides. Then we're only not going to be outputting out the back. So that will help us maximize channels for a minimum amount of ME controllers. So we can just break this center one and plop this one down. So there we go, and you can see it resets all the channels. So we got 1 used up there, 3 used here, 2 used here, and there should be only 1 used on the other side. So that should be all good. And that is good because we're actually going to need to use a couple of the channels in today's episode. And when I say a couple, that's an understatement. But what we're going to be doing to start out the episode is, instead of using a wireless terminal for our AE system, we're actually going to be using a remote orderer. I believe that's what it's called. Where is it? Right here, remote orderer, which is from logistics pipes to pretty much give it access to our system, order things at a certain quantity, and then it'll be automatically put into our inventory. So to do this, we're going to have to use a couple things. We're going to have to use the player interface to get access to our inventory, an ME interface to get access to our system and allow the logistics pipes to actually see that, and then we're going to have to use the logistic power junction to pretty much just get power to the logistics pipes. So to make this really compact, I'm going to put down the player interface right over here, the power junction right there, so it automatically gets power from our tesseract, and the interface right here. Now, if we hadn't put the ME controller there, it would break our whole system, which would suck, but I guess I can show you guys. So you saw before that we were using all 8 of the channels, and it can't go higher than that without dense cable. So if we hook this up right here, you can see there's no channels, and nothing is going to be connected, nothing should work. Yeah, so nothing works. That is because we've gone over the maximum amount of channels. So if we throw that back on there, now everything should be working again, and that is all good. So now what we need to do is actually hook up the logistics pipes. But first off, I want to say thank you to both Saice, the amazing Shoop, and Landstrider, who, he was the one that just hopped on, right? Yeah, he just got on. For both helping me with this. Now, Saice helped out Landstrider in one of his recent videos with setting this whole thing up for his storage system, which also included a couple of the storage drawers hooked up, but that's the same thing for setting it up. And he helped him, and then I went over to Land's base last night and was looking at it just to get the general idea of how it's set up. And so thank you to both of them. They both helped me out a lot, and this is really awesome. I think this is cool, a lot cooler than a wireless access point or wireless terminal that you might use, so I would say go with this. So it also doesn't require the thing to be charged to actually use it, so that is awesome. So what we're going to do is you're going to need 3 different pipes. You might need more if you're doing a different setup than I am here, but you're going to need at least 3 pipes. So you're going to use the basic logistics pipe to wire the power from the logistic power junction, and you'll also use these for any gaps you have between your provider logistics pipe Mark II and your remote order logistics pipe. But for mine, we only have one gap, and that's between the power, so we only need one of these. So then the provider logistics pipe Mark II is going to hook up to the ME interface, and the remote order will go to the player interface. Now, if you've never messed with the player interface, it's really cool. It actually allows 3 different ways to access a player's inventory. So if we click on it, you can see it's connected to Dr. Ragehard, meaning it can access all different types about me, my hotbar, my armor, or my inventory storage itself, which is like these 3 rows right up here. And you can pretty much access that based on the sides that you use. So the top one is for your armor slots. So if you wanted to take off all your armor or put it on, you could suck the items through the top. The bottom, which we can't see right now, is going to be the hotbar. So if you wanted to clear out your hotbar completely or put items in there, you'd use the bottom. And all 4 of the other sides are for storage, which I don't even know what that looks like. It's just kind of like a brownish square, but that'll access these 3 rows that you have in your inventory that I guess aren't considered, they're not your hotbar, but they are your storage. And that's what we're going to want to access, because I don't want to get thrown in my hotbar. My hotbar is usually full, so it's okay to just do this. And this thing should be set up now, so all we got to do is take the remote order and click on the remote order logistics pipe, and it should say connected to pipe. Now all we got to do is right click with this, and boom, there's our entire system. It is awesome. So you can see all this good stuff we have in here, and you can flip through different pages, and you can search things up down here. You can change the way it's sorted. You can search for like cobble. You can see that, and it will start with this pop-up selected right here. So when you order something, it'll say like, oh, we just ordered this, and it'll, you'll have to click OK. So you're going to want to disable the pop-ups, but you can also refresh it to get updates if things are flowing in your system right away. But the good thing that you can do, the really cool part about this, we can come up here so we're not just standing. Like I said, it's going to get more cluttered down here, but it's weird standing down there in this kind of crevice with all these pipes and stuff. Got to get some fresh air. So if we go over here, let's just say we want to order cobble. So we click on it, it's selected, and then you can use these pluses, double and triple pluses, along with the minus, double and triple minus, to increase and decrease the sizes, stacks, or just general numbers that you want of each one. So you start out as 1, you can request 1. If you use the single plus, that'll go up 1, go down 1, and the minimum you can go to is 1. The double will go up 10 and down 10, and then the triple will go up a whole stack. So if you click request, we want 1 stack right now of cobble, click request. Chat will tell us requested 64 cobble, request successful because it's in the machine. Everything has power, it can get to us. Come over here, inventory, boom, 64 cobble, which is awesome. And we can do that with whatever we want from our system. So if we're far away from our base, we can get anything we might need. And then we have the ender pouch, which we can just toss things away. And the nice thing now is I forgot actually that down here, this has no acceleration cards in it, but I believe we should be able to add 2 acceleration cards to that. So what we're going to do is we can actually go and make some of the acceleration cards because we have automated crafting for all of our stuff, so it actually should be pretty easy to make them. So we can go over here to acceleration cards. I think we actually might have some advanced cards. No, we do not. So we actually need to make some advanced cards, which should be easy. I think we should have some calculation processors. Only going to need 2, and we can get this. I actually don't want to use the pure Fluix crystals just because we don't have that many of those, but we do have a good amount of regular Fluix crystals, so we can get that. Now, this system honestly just speeds up crafting so much. It is phenomenal. I love it. I'm so happy I went and actually finally made it. But we can put both of these in there. I think that is the maximum we can have Oh, we can actually have 4 in there. Wow. Okay, so all of those could be acceleration, but I think 2 should be enough, so we can test it out. We can go over here, we can order a stack, and then we can throw them back in here, and it should take, yeah, okay, so it takes them out really fast. I don't know why it'd need to be any faster than that, and that'll be good too if we ever want to use, I guess you wouldn't even need to use that for the Ender Quarry, it'd be the Tesseract. So that is all good. The setup is done over there for our remote requesting, and now a couple other updates that I want to make to our system would be allowing us to remotely craft, or at least from our AE system, be able to craft charged Certus quartz. And that's just because the charger is really annoying to manually put things in, because when you manually do it, you got to take the Certus quartz out, you got to right click, wait for it to charge, and then you like left click or right click it again to pop it out, and you got to do that with each one. So what we're going to do this time is make it so we can request them. So the first thing you got to do when you're ever going to request anything is you need to make a pattern for it. Again, it's going to have to be a processing pattern, and we're going to have to get 1 Certus quartz for when we request charged Certus quartz, and that's all we're going to need. We can encode the pattern, and we are good to go. And I guess we should actually keep this and 1 charged Certus in our inventory, and then we can come back over here, and this is the second thing that is actually going to go on this side. So like I said, we're going to have a lot over here, so I'm going to try and keep it as compact as possible. So it would be hard to move things around and actually alter what's down here eventually, but hopefully we won't have to do that. So I don't feel like adding any more power, and I don't feel like adding more Ender IO conduits, so we can actually get away with using this iron chest right here and hooking this up right here. And all we're going to have to do is set this up just like the rest of the system. So it's getting power right now, and we're going to make it so the pattern is going to go into this ME interface down here. So which one? This one's the pattern. So whenever we request it, it's going to send all that Certus quartz to this iron chest. So now we need to say only pull out charged Certus quartz, so that is in there too. So now that'll go back into our system. And the last thing we need to do is actually alter the settings right down here so that it is in and out just like the others. It is always active, and we need to put in the filter, so we can use another basic item filter and say only Certus quartz crystals can go in that one. So it actually should be good to go now. It's going to be a little slow, which is slightly annoying because we only have 1K crafting storage. So if I request, I think I tested it out with like 40 or so. It took a long time to finish up. So we may have to make more crafting storage with some coprocessors and things, but for now, should be okay. So if you guys were curious, I mentioned it last episode, you can click on this a certain way to get it so that it will allow you to craft even when you have some in there. I was told that it is the middle mouse button, and we'll just say make 10. Next, available 10 to craft 10, start, and now we can come back over here just to show you guys what it looks like, and it pretty much will automatically put it in there, and the minute it charges, it'll get sucked out, and it should put another one in. So this one is taking a really long time to charge, unless it's like glitched. Huh. Okay, there we go. That took a really long time to charge. Usually they don't take that long, but you can see that it is just going to process them. The minute they get charged, it'll suck them out, and if we look down here, you can see this is slowly going down. So still crafting 8, and that'll just keep going. So yes, it does take a little bit, which is why we're going to need some more of the crafting storage and processors for that, but it's going to be really nice to have so we don't have to manually click it. And the reason we hooked it up to that chest back there is so that we can have a nice buffer. If we request like 64, it's going to have a nice buffer that it can just kind of throw them in, and then they can just go in the minute they're ready to start getting charged and then get sucked out right away too. So I don't actually know if you need a buffer, but I would assume you do, so that it can hold the 64 you request, because it's going to send those out immediately. So the next thing that I want to do are just kind of some random upgrades to this whole system, just because we have some of these things, such as the crystal growth chamber, that need to be hooked up here just so that they can get power, not so they can be automated or anything, but just so they can have power. So I think we're going to do the crystal growth chamber right over, we can do it right over here, because eventually I'm going to get rid of this chest. I could probably get rid of it right now if I actually wanted to. But what we got to do now that we have open channels is just wire this over so it can have power and throw this down, and it should be good to go. We can just make anything in here whenever we want, and we could automate this, yes, but I'm not going to do that right now just because we have to go through and we have to craft all of the actual seeds so that they can be made into the pure crystals, and to do that we'll have to, you know, create patterns for that and all that. So I don't feel like doing that right now, but that'll just be there so we can use it if we actually need it. And the next thing that I want to do is hook up some of these storage monitors. I think I'm going to do it right over here so that we can monitor how much we have. I thought It'd be fun to do it for all the processors because, you know, it'll line up perfectly. Eventually we can throw some more down over here somewhere else, but I think it'll work perfectly for the processors. So, you know, if you see you're running low on some of them, you can just go and request 64 when you're not doing anything, and that way the crafting storage won't be used up when you need it later. So I actually don't have an axe right now. I went and made a lumber's axe, but if I were to use that, it would break a lot of the stuff around this, so I don't want to use that. So we will just punch this for now. And to hook this up, we're going to have to use these smart cables. And now that we have one down here, because I'm going to wire it like this and then go up the side, we can actually break this one right here just to save some and wire it. Whoops, we can wire it right up the side there. It always bothers me when you have these like needless connections right here because it doesn't need to be, but luckily it doesn't use up a channel because it's not sending power or anything through there, so it's fine. So then we're going to put down these storage monitors on here. They should all be connected. Very nice. Eventually I might paint these so they're not these obnoxious colors compared to the wood, but I haven't decided what color I want yet. And then we need to go through and get all the different processors. So luckily we have some of each. We don't have to craft any right now. And oops, there we go. And cool. So we should line them up so that it is that, and then that, and then that. So that's the order from left to right, going from top to bottom. So that's just something that would beat OCD for me. I don't know. It wouldn't even bother me that much. I just think it's fun to do. So then we can put these back in there, and they should, yep, update right away. So that'll be nice. So you're like, oh, we only have 9 of those left, and we got 26 of those. Well, let's make them each go to a stack or something. I don't know, but it's just nice. So the next thing that we need to do, and the last thing, is actually put down some of these micro blocks around these to make them look nicer. Now, the one thing you got to be really careful about is when you're doing the micro blocks for these, you do not want to use the oak wood covers whenever some of these cables could connect. And the reason you don't want to do that is because these will, you can put them down, but they'll cut off the connection. And I messed up with that the other day when I was putting these down right here. I actually put covers right here and it disconnected the pattern terminal. And it actually disconnected the ME drive below this too. So you actually have to use strips whenever there's going to be cables connected. So I'm pretty much just going to use strips for this entire thing. And I think we should have some in here. No, they're in my inventory. Okay, we got them in my inventory. Got a lot of extras, but that's fine. So go all the way around. I could use covers on these, but there's no real point actually. So fill these in, and they should be staying connected because these shouldn't interrupt any of the smart cables. And there we go. So we got a nice flush wall over here with all of our cool stuff in it. I actually really like the way it looks. It's a little bland over here. I may add some more of these storage monitors or some other stuff. Not too sure what we might add over here, but eventually there will be some other stuff. And then like I said, back here we're going to have all of our machines. So one thing that we can actually do right now is completely get rid of this chest right here. We can take all this stuff out and we can break this chest, and this stuff is going to get moved. I'll move it off camera, but I'll show you guys the concept of what I want. So this tesseract right here, please don't crash me. There we go. This one is going to be receiving energy, and it is going to be sending items. Whoops, there we go. I went over it. Sending items. Good to go. And eventually we're going to get rid of this completely right here, this energy, because although it does support all of these running at the same time, it's pretty weak compared to our energy generation now, which we actually need to get energy from just because it's way overflowing with ender pearls. I think Lan came over to my base the other day to give me some sky stone for the ME controller, and he was talking about how he doesn't have an enderman farm set up yet, and I was like, oh my gosh, just come over and take some of my ender pearls. I gave him like 75 stacks or something because I just don't need them. The thing's probably overflowing in there again. I gave Nan like 30 stacks of dimlets too, so yeah, we're super generous now. Guys on the server are really nice. They just kind of, you know, if you need something, you can ask someone for it, and then if they ever need something, they can just get it from you. And it works out perfectly. So we actually don't need anything hooked up to this one. It's all going to be hooked up to this one. So we can just break this one right there. And this one is going to be pulling it out, so we need to have this ejecting out the back. So it will push that out the back, and we can just change this side so it doesn't actually look like anything over here. And this will be extracting without signal, and that should be working. And then this one, honestly, we can just do the same for now just because. So this one should then output the back, and this one needs to be input. So it actually should suck that out, and that should go directly over to our ME system. So let's see if that does. Oh, it does, right there, conduit facade. So that is awesome. So now if we have, you know, a bunch of cobble, I can just take this, we can throw it in here, and I have this active with signal. We'll turn it on active without signal, and that should automatically go back into our system. Not that I would even know, I don't know how much stone we have in here, but it should go back in here in theory, which is good. Eventually I will have to upgrade all these because they're getting a little full. So I'll go for, now that it's easy to craft them, I'll probably make a bunch of 64Ks for this, which should be enough to hold us over. And we can just toss all of this random stuff in here right now. So guys, that is going to be it for today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to give it a like. Also, if you want to see when Saice goes and helps Lan, be sure to check out Saice's channel. I don't know if Lan has it up on his channel, but I know at least Saice has the video up. And yeah, that helped me out a lot when I was making that system. So if you did have any confusion, you should check that out. But as usual, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you guys later.